Good afternoon, my darlings. I've just hopped on quickly to do a little demo of how I do the mane of a unicorn. And in fact, I will try and do a couple of different ways of doing it. So I have pre-painted my board with the nose, ears, gone over there, over the eyes, and then you can't really see it on the board, but there's a little bit of white on there as well. So I don't use a stencil for my unicorn horns because one size doesn't fit all, and you get a much better fit painting a horn by hand. And on a hot day, it's going to dry that quick that it's really not that much effort to paint it on. And also I find that the proportions of the horn much better if you just paint it on. So really it's just an ice cream cone. That's all you're painting on there. So you've got a lovely balanced design there with this, whether it's if you use a stencil, as convenient as they are, they tend to be a little bit like pencil-ish, a bit too thin, or they're too triangular. So yeah, that is my tip one, even if that is off topic. So I'm hoping that's going to dry nice and quick. And I am going to do just my basic one-stroke unicorn horn, and I think I'm going to use Natalie Davis 3/4 inch, just got paint in my mouth, 3/4 inch flat brush, the one with the longer bristles. You can do this with a short flat. I don't have a 3/4 short flat, but I have got a 1 inch, but you'll find a 1 inch is too big. 3/4 is perfect for this because it fills that space nicely. And what colour am I going to do this in? So I have done the horn yellow. Never do a horn pink, and we all know why. So I'm going to try and, if you are doing a frozen unicorn, sometimes it's quite nice to do a slightly tealy blue one, but I think I'm going to pick my favourite unicorn one stroke, which is Black Iris by Tag. And probably should have preloaded all my brushes for this. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and is enjoying this sort of slightly quieter break. And the reason I like Tag, Black Iris, is because it's got a black edge to it. So any dark edged one stroke. So there we go, just 1, 2, 3. This is a bit wet. I've already had my first gig back this year, so I'm looking forward to my next one tomorrow. No, Saturday. Right. Okay, so when I do this, I'm not going to start the hair down here. I'm not going to start it too low down. I don't want it to fan out that way. I'm going to use the point where the horn and the ears meet, and I'm going to start my hair there. So put the brush down on it, right on the edge of the horn. So I'm holding it straight up, and then it's pivot the brush. So this corner here doesn't move, the outside edge. So turn the brush, obviously on a flat board. So that's a 1/4 turn there, you can see that. Maybe if I turn her this way, this is a little bit easier. So I'm going to swoop the whole brush round to 180 degrees, is that? So swoop it round to that point. So that's how that looks. This brush is always held upright because you'll get a nice even, it's easier to keep the brush in the right place then. So then, and I'm going to have to turn her that way. Then from here, obviously I've not lifted the brush off the face, I'm going to sweep it that way. So I am creating a curve here, and I'm going to sweep it up over the eyebrow and turn the brush So we've gone round here 180 degrees and along, and at this point it's turning the brush that way. So you're sweeping up and over the brow. So the black is always on the outside edge. So if you're in a real rush, you don't actually have to outline that because you've done it in black, but you've swept up and it is that sweep round and over. So practicing that round and twist back motion is really useful for unicorns. And that's not really wet, it's not going to dry quick enough. And then I'm going to take a number 2 round brush, whatever nice sort of pointed round brush that you use for your line work. I like a number 2 because it's chunky enough that it's visible, but not so skinny. Like I would use a 1 or a 0 for outlining a head and neck unicorn, but when you're doing a big design like this, yeah, it's better. You want a more high impact, otherwise it's too delicate and it kind of gets lost on the face. Think like if you're outlining something with a Sharpie that you want to be able to see from further away, whereas a fine detail design is meant for looking at close up. Okay, so this is on a practice board, so it's a little slippery. Wipe that off. So I'm going to outline. If you've watched my live before, you've seen me do this before, and it really is a series of S's. And holding the brush when you do it on the face upright, it's easier for you to see. Okay, so you can see I've done 1, 2, 3. The next one should just about meet here. And there. Okay, so then we're going to fill that top one in. So, look, that's not very straight. The reason I'm not going to draw a round curve here is because I don't want the horn to look like it's just plonked on top of the hair, like a button on the top of a baseball cap. It looks like it's behind there, so you don't actually see the bottom of the horn. Now, if you're using a lighter edge, you're going to outline the edge of your hair there, and then you can put a curve in there if you like. I hate painting on a practice board because you don't get those nice wispy ends. And that's where, so here's that bump, that curve of the horn there, and we're going to just create the last one, take it round there. So the horn is now behind the hair, it's not sat at the front, and then you would go on and outline the rest. Of the design. I'm gonna have to do this side now because I've done one. Oh look, I've done the good side first. And don't forget when you outline there to do the little flicky shading. And really that is the quickest and easiest way to do unicorn hair that I've found. The problem with bringing it down the nose is that some kids have got a really narrow bridge of the nose and you're trying to basically paint on the width of a pencil. It's really difficult. So if you go up and over the forehead, you've kind of got less detail and less fiddling to do here. You could easily put a bump in that side, but it's kind of just like a swooshy fringe, and then you can put whatever you fancy down this side. Right, so I've cleaned the board off, and I'm going to show you a slightly different method of doing the The hair, I've just repainted that. I'm not going to go through all that again. And this time I'm going to use a sponge and a split cake. And this is just a petal sponge and a rainbow cake. It's quite nice. And they're like, I want a rainbow unicorn. To do it with a sponge. This one is a bit more like having the horn, the hair coming either side of the horn. Okay, so I'm going to take a petal sponge and I'm going to manipulate the sponge so it is curved. And when you do this on the face, you're patting it down that way. And I'm going to pat with the edge of the sponge, so to show you what that would look like. So there's my bent sponge, and I have just used the outside edge of that sponge, not daubed it down so flat, just using the outside edge. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. And my cat's come to say hello. So there you go. So there I have brought it round on this side, down the nose a bit. So if you've got an older child, that's a little bit easier to do. And then again, you're just pinching the sponge and manipulating the shape. Ooh, these sponges are a bit small to do this, but and it's on the board. I would do this on a child, but mine are all at school. Okay, so there you go. You've got the base sponged on there. Trying to get some. I need a new black. My cat making an appearance. So again, I've sponged the whole lot, and now I'm going to outline it. Using that number 2 round brush. I'm going to try and do this. I know that's wet, but I don't think it's going to dry quick enough. Okay, so we've gone down the horn with that one. Ideally I'd make that a bit pointier. And with this one, we're going to start this. I haven't brought the yellow bit quite far enough down. This is that last bump, and we are going to outline this inner corner part of the hair with that bump. But you're going to start on the top side with, do the outside. That is the outer edge of the hair. I'm going to go back up. There you go. And then this side, we're going to create that outer edge. Like that. Okay, just going to quickly outline those. And normally I'd put a line in there. And for the hair on the edge, do an S curve, and then go back up and back down to kind of create waves of hair. Might be able to fit another one on the outside. So again, it's start at the top, work down, go back up, go back down. So you're not down, down, your brush is always moving backwards and forwards like that. Down. Number of times I send a child out of the chair and I've forgotten to put the ear shading on one side, and you just have to let them go. Hope no one notices. Always put eyelashes on. And there you go. So you want to make it fancy. Someone grumbling about on the job stuff and like there being too many highlights on stuff. Literally, if you've got the time, make sure you do it. What am I using here? Number 3, Bolt Diamond Collection. It's a bit big for highlights, but I like them chunky. Okay, so we're going to highlight the outside of the hair, the high points really. Like that. And always highlight on the same side of the, so don't highlight this side and then that one and then that one and then that one. You want to highlight, the light is always coming from the same direction, so it's always down one side. And yeah, basically you're not making a flat rounded edge to the horn. The horn is already there, the hair is just flowing either side of it. And hopefully that makes some sense and is useful. Obviously you can do this technique, you can still do that with a one stroke. You would just pull it down that way and you would pull it down and twist that way. But again, it's a little harder I find on the bridge of the nose. But you don't want this top bit to be too flat either. You don't want to come out and then down. It's curving round. This is a round object. It's not just going to poke. It's not flat on the back. So if I think of anything else, then I might chuck that on an extra bit of video. But hopefully this has been useful for somebody, especially because unicorns are so popular, and I love painting them anyway. So this is never a bother for me. But yeah, just keep practicing, and it'll click one day. I promise. Bye.